So I am the lucky girl that have the privilege to introduce our next speaker, who represents one of our co-sponsors, AARP Florida. Thank you, AARP Florida, for supporting the Caregivers Conference for a second year in a row, and that is amazing because I think that it is their sponsorship, I would say more than 50%, that makes this happen. So thank you, AARP Florida. Our next speaker is Monica Stynchula. She is a member of AARP Florida's Executive Council. She is also a wife, mother, community leader, social worker, entrepreneur, and the CEO of Reunion Care, Inc. Reunion Care is a family-based care management platform based in St. Petersburg, Florida, that provides comprehensive planning for the family caregivers and professional healthcare providers, making sure family members have a peace of mind and less stress. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Monica Stynchula.
Thank you, Maria. Now, rarely does anyone say they can't hear me. I'm fifth of 7 kids, so usually I've learned to be heard. So if you can't hear me because I venture away from the mic, please just raise your hand and I promise I'll come back to where you can hear me. The second issue you're going to have with me is I talk fast. And if I'm talking too fast, again, just like something like that will do it, and I'll slow down a little bit. It's just, I think, a fact, again, of being that middle child, and I want to be heard, so I get it all in. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you all for coming. I'm always delighted when I see caregivers that are willing to learn more, because we're an army. As caregivers, we're an army of over 40 million people, but we're a silent army, aren't we? We're the army that doesn't get paid. We're the army that serves and protects the people that are most important to us. And I want to thank you for doing that, because it's the most important job. It's one of the most important jobs you'll ever do in your life. And I really want to thank you for your commitment to doing that. I'm here to talk about innovation. Originally, we were going to talk for an hour. Now we're down to 30 minutes, because there's one thing I know about holding a conference, is you don't get in the way of lunch. So I'm going to get you back on schedule. But the way I'm going to get you back on schedule is because I'm going to refer you to all the great materials that AARP has brought for you today. These are going to be the resources that I refer back to frequently. This is the technology guide. This is Caregiving Innovation Frontiers. And this one is Prepared to Care. Both of these are really great. These are 2 things I would put next to your toilet for your private time. All right? And I will be referring to them frequently. So I am a social worker who retrained in health information technology. And once I did that, I realized, well, I'll start with what happened. My dad got sick. And even though I have 4 brothers, I'm my dad's favorite son. So Dad gets sick, I'm down here, and he's up in Pittsburgh. And you better believe you, I will move mountains to help take care of my dad. So I have to go back and forth, because I'm the family social worker, to help take care of Dad. Now, I don't want to give you the wrong impression. My other brothers and sisters helped out, but no one's going to do it as well as I will. So I'm going back and forth to Pittsburgh as I'm retraining in health information technology. And the easiest way to tell you what health information technology is it's all those electronic health records and those new gadgets that you're getting now that you may like or you may not like at the moment. That's what health information technology is. My father was treated at the University of Pittsburgh's Medical Center, where I did both of my graduate degrees. I love the place. They spent $1.3 billion on an electronic health system that helps to make them money hand over fist. But what they didn't do was take care of my family. As soon as Dad would leave the hospital with my mother, his wife of 53 years, as soon as he would leave the hospital, everything fell apart. She had a bag of medicine. She has a husband with brain cancer. He stood 6'3", she's 5'4" on her best day. And she used to take care of him and help him do all of his daily tasks as he loses his sense of balance. They did nothing to help her to overcome that. And no matter how many health professionals are in our family, there wasn't enough to wrap around my mother to help her to be able to do this effectively every day. Did I give him the right pill? Did I give him at the right time? Is his stomach upset because I gave him something wrong? You can imagine, and I know you live it every day, that what you think about every time you make a move, every time you care for your loved one is, did I do the right thing? And the University of Pittsburgh failed us at that. And I thought, that's it, I'm done. For the rest of my life, what I'm going to do is help caregivers become that important team member that the University of Pittsburgh should have recognized my mother as, because if she doesn't do the job right, they fail. And it's about time that we as caregivers have a seat to say, no, doc, I'm not about to do that. That's not realistic. And the only way we're going to do that is for you to have a seat at the table. So that's why I'm in innovation, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, are ways that we can do that. So I started by saying we're over 40 million caregivers. You know, AARP, we love to talk statistics. And I'm going to frame this from the Medicare Advantage perspective. You're going to see a lot of slides with this blue cloud on there about Medicare Advantage. And the reason why I'm highlighting them is the most innovations that we're seeing today are happening in Medicare Advantage. So what we're seeing in Medicare Advantage, you'll start to see across the board into other parts, into basic Medicare, into the VA system, all of those, and Medicaid. You're going to start to see them bleed over, but Medicare Advantage is where the innovation is happening today. So focus on that when you look at what's coming forward. We know that we're spending a lot of money out of our pocket, aren't we? A lot of money that no one is even accounting for. You're buying groceries. You're modifying your home. You're doing a lot of things that don't look like healthcare expenses. But how do you keep someone aging in place if you don't make the environment around them safe and ready for them to use? That's a healthcare expense in my book. So when we go to the legislature, which at AARP we're really good at doing this, we back a lot of legislation. And the reason why we do that is we need to educate them on what a healthcare expense is. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get them to understand the numbers here. The financial impact on you is outrageous. Who can afford to privately pay for a nursing home that may cost you $100,000 a year? Who has the money sitting around to do that? Who has the money sitting around for an assisted living facility that may be a third or a half of that cost, but you still have to pay for supplies. You're still going to have to pay for therapies. Who has the money to do that? Did anyone plan for that? So there's a lot of financial burdens right now that are making your job even more difficult than the physical demands that you have on you right now. And we know, we women, we make the majority of the decisions, don't we? We may let our husbands think they're making the decisions, but we make the decisions. 60% of caregivers are women, but I think the most profound part about this now is for a decade, we at AARP has said the quintessential caregiver is the 49-year-old adult daughter who's taking care of her parents. But today, 1/4 of all caregivers are millennials. These are kids in college, just coming out of college, that are now becoming caregivers. They don't even have the skills that our decades of experience have given us. We're throwing them in as caregivers right in their early 20s, which is pretty amazing. But here we're talking about that women, we're making the decisions. Unfortunately, what we do is we neglect our own health in the process. Don't we? We all put our families first. We come second. It's second nature to us to do that. We don't even have to think about it, right? It's just how life is. But what I want to challenge you today as you're not just a woman, you're not just a wife or a mother, but as a caregiver, we also have to take care of your health. And somehow we have to get you to understand that you need to put your health first. So we're going to talk about innovations that are going to help you to do that. First of all, Dressing, bathing, transportation, all those daily activities that you do each and every day are really going through some big changes. And there's some really cool things happening out there. How many of you are using the home delivery of groceries at this point? Awesome. How many of you are like getting your dry goods from Walmart or something? You're just using some other way to kind of streamline, or even Amazon, some way to streamline and save yourself some time. Those kind of innovations are going to become more important as time goes by. And I think in Medicare Advantage, you're going to start to see a marriage of these two things together, which will make life even better. But this is an area where I really challenge you. Start looking at some of the apps like Angie's List when you need to have home modifications done and see what you can do. We even have a local company that went through our AARP Caregiver Accelerator. Her name is Arlene Grosso, and Arlene, at the age of 70, after taking care of her mother with Alzheimer's, went from being a real estate agent to being a general contractor, and now she will come and put architecturally pleasing modifications on your home as quick as she can. She has so much business from the VA, she can't stay ahead of it at this point. Nor can she find enough carpenters qualified to do the work. And that's just local. She's right here in St. Pete. It's just amazing. These are the kind of innovations that I encourage you to start looking for, and you're going to see a list of them and how to reach them inside the Health Innovations book here. As I said, Medicare Advantage is where we're going to see the biggest innovations right now. And to me, this is good news. To me, the changes that they are making is really good news for us, because they're starting to pay for some of the things that you do on a daily basis that previously weren't recognized as healthcare expenses. Modifying your home, getting in-home supports of different kinds, making your bathroom safe. All of these things, you still need to talk to the doctor. They need to be qualified by the doctor, but Medicare Advantage plans, this is the first year that they're starting to roll some of these out. They're starting to pay for respite care through that as well. So I encourage you to always be checking to see if your Medicare Advantage program will help to take care of that. Again, in your AARP booklet that they gave you, there is one in there on Medicare, explaining all the different types of Medicare and what to look for. Excuse me, when enrollment opens up again at the end of this year, please, whoever you talk to about selecting your plan, challenge them on what are you paying for home-based care? What are you doing to make life better for me as a caregiver? Because it's really starting to happen. The next area is health and safety awareness. To me, this is really important. How many of you have recently experienced a hospitalization of yourself or the person you're caring for? How many of you, following that hospitalization, were sent home with maybe an iPad, a tablet of some kind, or some kind of monitoring for right afterward? Did you get that? Yeah. These are the kind of innovations that are happening now, because what's happening with hospitals is they're on the hook to keep you out after they discharge you for 30 days. So all of a sudden, it's important to make sure that your return home goes really well. So as a result, they're now using more technologies to monitor you for that first 30 days. It's a good sign. I just wish that they would do it year-round. I mean, we just don't need that for 30 days. But if someone has congestive heart failure, they should be jumping on the scale every day. And that information should be transmitted directly to their doctor so that they can be proactive about what's happening. That doesn't sound like a huge stretch, does it? Jump on the scale. They know what, if you've gained 5 pounds, well, there's probably fluid, that's backing up. We need to do something about it. These are the kind of innovations that are happening now that I really hope that you can take advantage of. There's one in particular close to my heart, and I hope that I can get your support to call your state legislator on this. It's telehealth. Telehealth is that ability to use this little device, call up your doctor, and ask that question instead of arranging an appointment and going into the office. Now just think of the logistics of that. Do you prefer to dial a number, or do you prefer to get the person that you're caring for dressed, into the car, drive, out of the car, wait in the waiting room for God knows how long, Have that 5 minutes where the question is answered, and you may even forget the answer by the time the 5 minutes are done because you're already worn out. Back into the car and reverse. Telehealth is really a great service, and telehealth is something that we should all be pushing for. It's getting more and more traction. This is one of the things that Medicare Advantage is really getting behind. Medicare, or Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, have set money aside for telehealth for the last 8 years, and it's been slow to catch on because, doctors are a little bit skeptical. Am I going to be able to charge them for that visit if I do it on the phone? Do I get paid for doing that? Is it a safe way to do it? The technology is changing so fast that it is a safe way to do it, and it is a good way to save time and energy. The other great use for telehealth is hospice. When someone is in hospice and they're going through the end-of-life process, you're going to have questions. We did with my dad. And do you know how nice it is to be able to pick up the phone and go, hey, I don't know if this looks right, but his feet are really cold and they're starting to change color. Is this okay? Yeah, it's fine. And I'll be there in an hour and we'll take a look, but yeah, you're fine. Otherwise, what would we have done? We would have put him we would have called an ambulance and taken him back to the hospital to answer that question, right? Telehealth has great promise for these things. It also has great promise if you're doing therapy, and it's just follow-up therapy that can be done at home with the equipment that they've given you to take home. They can actually, right through your phone or right through your computer or even your TV, they can do the same session with you right there. Telehealth has great promise. The problem that we're having here in the state of Florida is getting the legislature to pass telehealth. The bill will be up again this year. Please, when you hear anything about it and you hear that it's on the docket, please call in and say, we'd really like to have that for ourselves as well. That is a time saver, and as caregivers, it's going to save you a lot of misery. So telehealth is a great safety and health awareness innovation that's out there. Care coordination is another one that dovetails that really well. Finally, we're finally getting everyone on the same page because the payers, the insurance companies, are starting to understand that they need to work. I know this is groundbreaking, so get ready to write it down. That the payer needs to work with the physician and be on the same page about what they're going to do and what they're going to pay for. Groundbreaking, right? In the past it was, the payer said, we don't want to pay for that, don't do it. And the doctor's going, but I have to or you're going to sue me. And now they're starting to work together, and that's called care coordination. Care coordination is very important, and care coordination is where you get your seat. That's where you say, you show me that care plan, and I need to sign off on it. That's where you have to be in the center of it. Remember, no matter what care plans they come up with, if you don't buy off, if it's not something you can do, it fails. It fails right there. It's done. Does that make sense to you? So if someone tells me that I'm supposed to debride a wound on my mother every day, and they show me how to do it, and somehow the sight of a wound makes me retch, do you think I'm going to do it every day? Right. That's reality. And that's why care coordination is important, and that's why you need to be in on that conversation. So if you're getting calls from the insurance company and they say, we'd like to talk to you, we have a care manager that would like to talk to you, I promise you, they're not calling about billing. I promise you they're not. When they say care manager, that's someone that's been assigned to you to help you with this process. Please take those calls and please speak up. Please speak up. Really get involved in care coordination because it's very important. Here's reasons why it's important. This is the kind of stuff that's been happening in our healthcare system now for too long. One doctor says you need a referral to a specialist to get this to happen. And the referral never happens, right? Someone in the middle drops the ball and somehow it doesn't happen. And who pays the price? You. These are the kind of things that need to change. We also know that there's long waiting lists for certain specialists. I can't wait for the day when we are no longer the ones that have to struggle and be the one that has to continue to be the to be the person complaining to get things done that should be done. We still have a lot of that going on, but care coordination is our way to overcome that. Scheduling hurdles, telehealth is going to help a lot with that. And then poor clinical communications. Listen, if you don't understand what a doctor or a healthcare professional says to you, ask, and say, I don't understand. Write that down for me, please. Please write that down. Now, I want to refer to the Prepare to Care guide. We put this Prepare to Care guide in for you so that you can organize everything about the person that you're caring for. And then in the back, we have a place for notes. We have in here where you write down all of your personal contacts, your pharmacist, your physical therapist, everything. This guide should go with you to every appointment that you attend, all right? Take this guide with you, and when you have questions, write the questions down ahead of time. Don't wait to the last minute or when you finally make it to the office. Write them down, and then write the answers down as well. You can always refer back to it afterward. I've also seen people, and I think it's pretty clever. Do you all have smartphones? Do you know that the over 75 population is the fastest growing users of smartphones? I like those kind of statistics. Anyway, you can also take your smartphone and record the visit. You could just turn the microphone on and record it so that things that you're forgetting while you're sitting there, you have it to refer to afterward. When you get home and you sit down and you make yourself a cup of tea, you can then listen and go, what did they say? And you can always call back and ask for more clarification afterward too. Please use these devices to their maximum and to your benefit, all right? The other thing is, speaking of smartphones, when you see something that you really don't understand, or a new rash or something that happens, take a photograph, okay? Photographs are time-stamped. That's really helpful because if 5 hours later you take a photograph again and you see a real change in that condition, then you know maybe I need to call, or oh no, it's resolving itself. I'm good. We can go on. But please use this smartphone as an extension of your brain, and I mean in a good way. It's an extension of your brain to be able to keep you on track as a caregiver. Transition support. God, these are the hard conversations, right? I got to tell you how I took care of it this year, just because I thought I was clever. So I have two brothers that live near my mom, now that she's widowed for 8 years. Two brothers that live near them, and I thought, okay, I need to have the conversation. I need to know about mom's will, her DNR, her pulse. Does everyone have those done? Yes, good. So I need to know about those, and I need to know where they are. So a whole bunch of us from the family were together for Thanksgiving. We went out to see Bohemian Rhapsody, and then afterward, I made sure that I segregated us at a table at the restaurant we were going to, and I bought the first round of drinks. And when I knew that the pump was primed, I said, okay, because I didn't want to do it inside someone's home because I didn't want it to be associated with a certain place. I didn't want to do it where other people were listening, and I wanted to do it where it was just a fun day. Like take away all those burdens instead of some heavy conversation in a heavy atmosphere. And so once the pump was primed, I told them, okay, here's where my documents are. Here's who's in charge. This is what's happening. Now, Matthew, what about you? Now, David, what about you? Okay, Mom, how about you? I bought the second round after that because it worked. I really encourage you, you need to have those documents and you need to share where they are with other people in your caregiving circle. There's a lot of cool instruments that are here in this book that you can use that are online. There's lots of ways to document. There's a lot of vaults that people have. The other thing is that when it comes to transition support, that I need to talk to you as caregivers, as individuals, as the person that's important enough that you're the center of attention today. One of the things that really frightens me are too many of my girlfriends are spending their own 401k to take care of their parents. They don't see any other options. They need to take care of mom and dad, and there's no money otherwise. What are they going to do? So they think in the back of their head, I can do it, and I'll make it up. I got some time. I can take care of this. There's time to make it up. There isn't time to make it up. Please Do not rob your own future while you take care of someone else. And that's not just me talking here from a podium. Don't do it. Don't do it. Reach out and find the Area Agency on Aging, which is here. Reach out and find other resources that are here and say, this is the situation. But once you start to commingle your money into the person you're caring for, now it keeps them from getting the services that they need, and it keeps from protecting you. And I'm concerned about you. We know that people that do caregiving are more likely to have back injuries, we're more likely to get sick compared to others, less likely to exercise, more likely to use prescription drugs or alcohol or something else to try to get by, less likely to sleep well. If any of that resonates with you, yeah, we're all in the same army, remember? But I need you to take care of you. I need you to do those. So transition support, you don't look at it just for the person you're caring for, but I want you to look at it for you. So please, please, look at those resources in there and find ones that will help you. And the other part is social well-being. Have you walled yourself off in your caregiving experience? Do you have other people you can talk to about what's going on? Yeah, that's reality for a lot of people. We're so busy caring for the other person that we lose ourselves in the process. It's easy for me to stand here and say, use that respite service. I know it's really good. But I also know, watching my mother, that if she would use a respite service for Dad, then she would have to come back and pick up the pieces and undo anything that may have not gone the way she wanted it. Right? Maybe they didn't treat him the same way, or maybe now he's disoriented because he went, oh, it's just better I stay here, right? No, I need you to take care of yourself. I need you to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. We have a lot of great programs at AARP. Conversations is one of my favorites, and I think it's one of Michelle's favorites too. Wouldn't you agree, Michelle? Conversations is a chance for you to come out. We'll feed you very nice food in a very nice setting, and it's a chance for you to just talk to other caregivers. Share your experiences and know that you're not alone. We really want you to come. We really want you to come out and sit and talk. And the cool part is we have found people that, oh yeah, I've been doing this for the last 5 years. Let me teach you that workaround. Or, oh, I know this great resource. I mean, when you sit down and you start sharing with other people, all of a sudden you realize you're not so alone. That there are other people that really are going through the same thing you are. It didn't feel that way when you were at home 24 hours a day taking care of someone else. That means my time is up. So, I want to say to you, this is very important, and I mean it. The only private time you get's in the bathroom. Keep a pencil with it. Start doing it, all right? Get this filled out. Get this. You need to have this. This here will give you great resources, great ideas of things to look for online, and we are always here at AARP. Call us. Come in and see us. Join our programs. We'd love to have you. Thank you very much.